Thank you very much. Could you discuss some of the areas in which companies may gain benefits in being more responsive or sharing information or collective intelligence?
So if Enterprise 2.0 helped companies, but it helped them with activities that are not that core or not that relevant for competition, then we would not get that excited about the new tools and the new approaches. What I've come to believe, though, is that Enterprise 2.0 can actually help companies with things that they care very, very much about. Activities such as innovation, such as collaboration, such as generating and sharing knowledge more easily, and at accessing this phenomenon which we sometimes call collective intelligence or the wisdom of crowds. And this is something that I used to be very skeptical about. I really didn't believe that when large numbers of people came together, they became more intelligent as a result. There's a saying in America that the IQ of a group is 1/2 the IQ of the dumbest member of that group. And I believe that a little bit because I saw many examples of people coming together and inferior results being generated as a result of the group. I don't believe that anymore, and I've become a very firm believer in collective intelligence simply because I've looked at enough groups coming together, and with the benefit of just a little bit of technology and some intelligent rules and some good management on top of it, they generate content. These groups generate content that is much better, much more accurate, much more powerful than any individual could have done by himself. So I have become, because of my technology investigations, a pretty big believer in collective intelligence and the wisdom of crowds.
Another question from Tokyo. Do your business clients in the United States ask you to quantify the benefit of Enterprise 2.0 introduction, and how do you answer them?
It's a very common question, and it's a natural question for an executive to ask. Before they make any investment, they comfortable asking, what's the return on this investment going to be? What am I going to get from this investment? So it's a very natural question to ask. My concern, though, is that when they ask that question, they're expecting a number or they're expecting a financial figure in return. And I don't like to give answers in terms of financial figures because there's just too much uncertainty involved in this. What I tend to answer in response to the question, what do we get from Enterprise 2.0? I talk about the capabilities that companies can acquire, the options that become open to them that were not open to them before, and I try to give examples to illustrate these options. So let me give you one quick example. I found out about a company that builds ski resorts in the western part of North America. And they rolled out a technology that gave all of their employees the capability to do weblogs or blogs. So employees could just talk about their work, again, with no rules up front, whatever they felt comfortable sharing with their colleagues. And these blogs were only available to other people inside the company. They were not on the broad public internet. So you could look at that and you could say at first, well, why would that be valuable? What's the point in having an employee blog? How can we be sure that they will do something valuable with it? And one of the things that we saw was that one employee was in charge of putting down the floor for one of these very large new resorts, and he found a way to do it that saved $500,000 over the standard approach for laying this floor. And he wrote a blog post about this. And it was only about 4 paragraphs long. It included 3 pictures, I think. And I don't believe that it took that employee more than maybe an hour to do that entire blog post. Where it became really interesting to me was when I saw a comment that another employee posted on that blog that said, this is very interesting. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? Can you send a couple more pictures? Can you tell me some details about how you improve the project and save $500,000? Now, what I think we're witnessing there is $500,000 in savings being transferred in that corporation. And I am very confident that the blogging platform did not cost anything close to $500,000 to deploy in that company. So I think these can be wonderful investments, not guaranteed, but I talk in terms of capabilities and options that become available to companies, not in terms of definite financial results.
And I think in that case and others, after it is deployed, people may be able to point to quantitative results of better products or responsiveness.
Absolutely. Or responsiveness, innovation, collaboration benefits that really would not have happened otherwise. And you can attach a dollar figure to those. But before the technology is deployed, what's the dollar value? That's a very, very vague question. So I'm much more comfortable talking about capabilities up front, and then in retrospect, we can point to actual benefits that came out.
And when those benefits are published in one company, other companies can learn from them.
Absolutely. And we should
judge how close they are.
Absolutely. And we can learn from case studies elsewhere in industry, in other countries, and have some confidence that when we deploy these technologies, if we do a good job, the business benefits will be there. The other important thing to keep in mind is that these are not expensive technologies. These are not tens of millions of dollars of investment. They do not take 2 years or 3 years to deploy fully. So compared to the other enterprise level IT investments that companies make, these are painless, very inexpensive technologies to deploy.
Another question from Tokyo, I think related. Do you believe that there's a lasting benefit and advantage to be gained by reducing reaction time and accelerating decision-making, and may Enterprise 2.0 technology help?
One of the things that we hear very often is that the pace of competition is increasing. And some investigations that I have done with some colleagues in this, here in the States shows that at least in the American economy, there's a lot of evidence to back this up. Competition does appear to be more intense. You need to react more quickly if you're going to stay on top of your industry. Circumstances change more rapidly than they used to, and there appears to be a great deal more information out there that we need to stay on top of and harness and process for our own purposes. So speed continues to become more and more important. I look at Enterprise 2.0 tools as wonderful ways to increase the speed and the universality of information, knowledge, decisions inside companies. They can be great tools to make sure that everyone inside the company is working with the same information, working with the current, the most recent information, and then you can have much more productive conversations on top of that.